Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rock and Review is thrilled to have on award-winning country music singer-songwriter, platinum-selling Carly Pearce. Carly, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I'm really loving this new album with 29 and also some of the videos you've put out for it. And you've already gotten a reputation as mixing traditional and contemporary. But wow, these lyrics, I mean, you're really bearing your heart through this whole thing.
Yeah, I think that country music especially is built on 3 chords and the truth, I think is what they say. And for me, going into this music and just this period of time in my life, I didn't want to shy away from how fans found me, which is every little thing was super honest and heartbreaking. And that's kind of how I came onto the scene. And I was bearing my soul about a broken heart. And I feel like my biggest successes have been telling how I broke somebody's heart and I hope you're happy now. And I feel like I'm just kind of going just a little bit deeper, but doing what I've always done in my music.
You know, I think you really did it, particularly listening to Next Girl. And I love the video rendition on your YouTube channel. And it's so intimate there in the studio, the way it was shot also. But, you know, you're talking to the next girl. You're actually giving the next girl advice. And I think, you know, to me, the whole album with 29 is very cathartic, especially for all of us, you know, living through this pandemic and going through hard times. But, you know, you were talking about, you know, being 29, you know, and it's like, okay, am I where I thought I would? Because I think all of us can, you know, feel that same way that you're expressing.
That's been the most interesting thing for me. I obviously played this music for my closest friends and for my band before it came out into the world. And they all were like, we know this is your story true through and through in this song, but we relate to it in our own ways. And it's been amazing to see now that it's been out for a week, I guess, at this point, country fans being like, I know that I didn't get a divorce, or maybe they did. And they're like, but I so feel like I'm not where I thought I would be, or things didn't turn out the way that I thought. And to me, it's just real life. We all go through things and go through struggles.
Well, and I could relate to so many of the songs where, you know, and I'm certainly not 29, but it's like I'm like, wow. I mean, there's just such depth to these lyrics. But I think also what I took away from it, and I think your fans and listeners will, is that it also has a sense of hope. You know, it's not like, you know, and nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking them. Some of the country songs that take you down a bad road and you're just staying there on a bad road. But, you know, with your music, you still got a ray of hope in there that things are going to get better.
I want people to see the redemptive side of it. And I think that in this music, I wanted it to kind of take you on a journey of the last 18 months for me, of losing my producer Busby, going through some extremely hard things in my personal life, but then show you I'm in a place of really feeling good about all those things and seeing that all things do work together for good. And so wherever you are in your journey of struggle, understand it won't last forever, and you will find the good in that scenario and in that struggle. For me, oh my goodness, there were moments, and you can hear it in the songs, I truly didn't think I could take another breath. I was so overwhelmed with sadness and grief and all of these things. And I just, at some point through the journey, just every day chose to get up and just walk. And a lot of times that's all you can control. And then one day you just wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, look how far I've walked. Like, this is amazing.
And that's a huge testament. I got to bring this up too, to where, you know, getting ready for the show, it's like, I obviously know your hit songs, and I've seen you perform on the Opry. I've been at the Opry when you've performed, but learning about you, that, you know, you started playing in a bluegrass band when you were only 11 years old, professionally.
It's so funny to say it, but yes, I was asked to front a bluegrass band. All of the musicians in the band were well into their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And here they are, like, asking an 11-year-old. And again, this is one of those moments for my parents that I'm like, what in the heck were you thinking? And I traveled around with these guys when I was 11, and my mom would either drop me off at shows or drop me off, and we sang at every church, Revival, trailer hitch, fair, festival. I sang at an all boys prison. What in the world? Like all these things. Super Kentucky.
Yeah, but I think that's so neat, especially with you coming out of Kentucky, with that history of bluegrass and great songwriting and music, looking at your career, particularly in the last 4 or 5 years, Carly's like, wow, she's an instant success. And they don't realize that, you started paying your dues at 19.
Yeah, I moved to Nashville when I was 19. I got a record deal with Sony Records when I was like 21 or 22. That music never saw the light of day, and I got dropped very quick and was an Airbnb cleaner, was a nanny, because I wanted to make my own schedule so that I could still write songs. I had everybody in the industry tell me, not everyone, my label's always like, we didn't tell you no. And that is true. But I had so many people in Nashville tell me no. They told me to move home, told me that I just wasn't special enough. And I was a backup singer for an actress who was she made a country album. I kind of did everything. And then it was literally, I wrote every little thing. And SiriusXM The Highway, the head of that station, heard every little thing and was like, this song is so big, it's going to change your life. And I was like, ha, 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 very funny. It's a heartbreak ballad from a new female. No, it's not. And he put it on the air, and literally like overnight, it changed my whole life 8 years later.
Well, and your songwriting, I think, it's interesting too, talking about how you came through these hard times, that your album 29 also represents this, and thinking back too to where Pete Fisher played a big role also. And I know you've been on the Opry like 75 or 80 times now, but as all of us know, anytime that you get to perform on the Opry stage, and that Pete kind of helped you get there.
So I'm performing my 80th show Saturday, and May 30th, 2015. So almost 2 years before anybody knew who I was, Pete Fisher let me debut on the Grand Ole Opry. And I had sent him an email like a year prior. I found his email somewhere online and was like, hey, Pete, I know you don't know me. My name's Carly Pearce, and I'm a singer, and my dream is to sing at the Opry, and here's a headshot, and here's some music. And he said he never looks at those messages, but for some reason he looked at mine, and he said that he knew I wasn't ready to perform yet, but he knew I had something. And so he started kind of mentoring me, and he made such a huge dream come true for me. And now the Opry's been with me at every step of this crazy last 4 years for me. So it's super fun to get to celebrate with the Opry like that.
Well, and once again, when I attend it too, it's just one of those things, as you know, from performing there, to where it's just so special. And I love seeing all of the artists, whether it's, the up and comers or, the big stars like you, and then the legends, and they all mix there on the Opry. And that you've been a part of this for so long now. I got to ask you also, I looked in, I couldn't help myself with the liner notes. You had a few big names as co-writers on these new songs for the album, and you were the co-writer on every song on it.
I know. I got nominated last fall at the CMAs, not as an artist. It was just as a songwriter for Song of the Year for I Hope You're Happy Now. And that was my story. That whole entire write happened because of me. And it just kind of solidified something in me of the fact that people do care what I have to say, and they care about my stories. And going into this project, when I kind of decided I was going to go there, if you will, I made a decision to challenge myself. I've never written every single song on a project, and I did not feel, and I'm one of the artists in town. Like, I very much am a fan of outside songs. Like, I don't have to write everything, but I really felt like there was no way that anybody else could articulate this quite like me. And I'm proud of that. I'm really proud to be a writer on everything.
Well, and I think it shows in the body of work. And as I brought up earlier in the interview about your YouTube videos and everything like that, just looking at it, obviously with the new album 29 out and doing so well with radio and everywhere, Forbes, Rolling Stone, Billboard, everybody raving about you. Where do you see yourself with tours and as things start to open up in the coming year to 2 years, Carly?
Oh my gosh. I just am so excited to be able to get back out on the road. The last time I played a live show outside of Nashville on tour, I Hope You're Happy Now was sitting in the top 20. So think about everything that's happened to me since then. It went #1, it went platinum, it won me a CMA award. Next Girl is like doing its thing. I mean, it's just going to be so exciting to get back out on the road and just to continue to solidify myself in the format.
Well, and I think you continue to, and certainly this album is just amazing. And I want to make sure too, Carly, that our viewers know where to go for your website, social media, everything, especially those new videos, because I love the videos where you're talking and sharing. Where should they go?
They should go carlypearce.com. YouTube, it's just Carly Pearce or Carly Pearce Music, at Carly Pearce on Twitter and on Instagram, and then Carly Pearce Music on Facebook.
Well, I'll tell you what, congratulations on Next Girl, which I love the song, the whole album, 29. I think we're going to see some great awards, more singles and videos coming out. And just a great year for you. And what an incredible album to share with everybody in this time when I think we need music like this. So, Carly, thank you so much for joining the Rock Review.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.